I want to tell you a story about the journey to getting here to this moment. It's a story that begins on New Year's Eve coming into this year. Prior to that, my emotional journey to turning 40 was probably pretty ordinary, filled with a certain amount of self-pity and remorse, regret over failed milestones and all the like. But all that began to change on New Year's Eve. And for those of you who've been with me, you've probably seen a gradual change in my outlook on life entirely. What happened on New Year's Eve is simply that Mike Phillips suggested the idea that we would have this party for turning 40. But in doing so, he immediately led me to thoughts of what I would say on that night. How do you capture 40 years on the planet to your family, closest friends? And it probably comes as no surprise to those who know the bonds that connect us, that in doing so, and viewing it through the lens of you, it brought me to a vastly deeper understanding of my life and all the things that brought me here. It led me to a very deep appreciation of what a gift my life has been, and our friendship. And it also led me to a renewed sense that the extraordinary is in our destiny. That may seem like a bold prediction for someone who has seen so much setback and disappointment in their life. But actually, I've realized it is because of those setbacks that I now fully understand our destiny. I don't think there's any doubt that the people that I speak to will do great things, have done great things, and will continue to do great things. You look at the capability, the character that connects us all, and all the ability. But the extraordinary is something different. It's more than just degree of great. It's that special ingredient that's hard to put your finger on. There are books and lectures about it. And Jessica and I went to a reception honoring J.B. Pritzker, the billionaire hotel heir turned venture capitalist who sponsored so many companies. And he tried to describe that special ingredient that separates the extraordinary. There's a kind of fanatic, almost crazy attachment that allows them to launch out into the unknown. But I have a different theory. That really what contributes to the extraordinary is all the supporting people that create an environment where the extraordinary becomes possible. Let's look at it a different way. Do you know what really happens when almost everything you can imagine goes wrong? Well, I do. And it turns out that not a whole lot. For us, failure is not about being destitute or hungry. It's about certain economic inconvenience, but much more fearsome are the emotional consequences of failure. But I'll tell you what I found out with regard to that. Each time that I felt like a failure or worthless, I found someone among you who still felt I hung the moon. And every time I felt things were hopeless, I couldn't see a way out, I found someone who still believed, who still held the dream. And the day you realize that is the day it really allows you to reach for the stars. There are some of you who probably wonder how you've contributed or what you've done. But you have. And there are others who know exactly what they've contributed. Or as my sister said, Joe, once we get through this hell, the next project is going to be really, really easy. But my answer to both is the same. When we come together to support each other, we form a kind of a safety net. And the great glory in that safety net is not in the times when it catches the acrobat that's fallen. It's in the time it allows him to reach higher, to attempt the thing that no one else has done, not because he's crazy, but because he knows we are there to catch him if he falls. And it may not be obvious to those in the stands on that day, but we deserve as much credit as he does. There may be others who think, well, that sounds kind of like a rationalization. By your metaphor, you have been testing that safety net for an awfully long time. And that is true. But I can say that if you had in mind the kind of stunts that I do, you'd spend a lot of time testing that safety net too. Don't be fooled. The greatest luxury in life is not a car, boat, vacation, or a house. It is a life lived where there is no challenge too great to be accepted and no dream too big to be held. You'll never give anyone a greater gift than the one you have already given me. Thank you. Thank you for sharing this moment.